Hi, you may have watched my 2 videos on how to build a basic kitchen base cabinet in 2 hours or less. Well, today we're going to use some of those same construction techniques, but we're going to plus it up considerably because we're going to build a bathroom vanity. And this is going in a bathroom I'm remodeling in my own house, so I want it to look extra special good. Let's take a look at the drawings. All right, so let's take a look now at exactly what I'm dealing with. This is the current bathroom. And if you'll notice, there's a door right here. And when you walk in the door, there's an angled wall that comes across like this. And as far as I can tell, because there's an outside wall right here, this space contains nothing. It's just framed in empty space. I knocked a hole in there and I looked around and I can't see any reason for it to exist. It's not a chase for plumbing or electrical or a chimney or anything else. It's just dead space. So what I want to do is I want to knock out these 2 walls and square this up, because right now the bathroom is really cramped. There's sort of a homemade plywood vanity in here. And it has a couple of drawers over here which you can't really open because they run into the toilet. There's 2 cabinet doors down here, but not much storage underneath because of the plumbing for the sink. The top is just formica over plywood, and overall it's just pretty bad. So the idea is to square this up and place the vanity over here in this corner and enlarge the whole bathroom. Let's take a look at what that might look like. Here is sort of my sketch of post remodeling. And you can see I've squared this wall up here, and I'm going to install a pocket door because pocket doors take up very little space inside the room when they're open. And I need all the space I can get. I'm going to put the vanity over here against this wall, and I'm going to build a small cabinet about 12 inches front to back, about 18 inches high, running between the vanity and this wall here, just a place to set a few things and a little storage underneath. Hopefully this will give me some additional space here between this cabinet and the toilet, and some additional space here between the toilet and the vanity where you're actually using the sink to get dressed. And this is kind of what my vanity idea is going to look like. So it's basically a 48-inch by 21-inch vanity, because I ordered a custom top, and it is 49 inches long and 22 inches front to back and has a built-in sink. And I think this vanity top will actually look pretty nice with the idea that I've got for the design. The cabinet will be 34 inches tall. That's in the range, 34, 35 inches tall for most vanities. And then this is the little cabinet that comes out across here for some additional storage. Problem is until I knock out those walls, I really won't know the distance from this wall to the wall over here, so I don't know how long to make this cabinet exactly. But I'll have to deal with that. Right now I've got to get started on this vanity because it's going to be a little bit of a long process just because of the finishing, and I need to have this ready when the bathroom is ready for it. So let's go take a look on how we're going to build this vanity. Now normally when building a cabinet, I would actually build the base first. Then I'd probably cut out the 2 sides and then make the base plate to sit on top of the base frame. However, for this cabinet, I'm cutting out the base plate as the very first step, and you'll see why in just a minute. I've been using my TS55 and Festool guide rail system to get these edges perfectly square. I've got one edge here to clean up. Then I'm going to go to the table saw and rip this to width. Okay, let's take a look at another one of my sad little sketches here. This is looking down from the top at the base of the vanity. And if you'll recall, the vanity is going to have this L shape and this smaller piece coming out. And I'd like it to look like it's all one piece of furniture. As a consequence, I don't want the toe kick to go all the way through. That would look funny. So I'd like the toe kick to come up, turn, and meet the toe kick for that short piece of cabinet that's going out at an angle here. So I'm going to have to build the frame to compensate for not having a toe kick in the last 12 inches or so of this cabinet. And because of that, I've got a lot of little frame pieces here, and it would just be really hard to square that up. So I cut the base first, and now I'm going to cut out the frame pieces, and as I assemble the frame, I'll be able to square it to the base. All right, now my finished cabinet is going to be 48 inches long by 21 inches deep. In order to accomplish that, I've got a 3/4 inch face frame, so I want to make the cabinet 20 1/4 inches without the face frame. And because I'll be using 3/4 inch material for the sides, that'll be on the outside of the base, I've got 3/4 plus 3/4 or 1.5 inches. So instead of making the base 48, I'm making the base 46.5. And that'll become the base of our cabinet. And now what I need to do is to build the frame with a toe kick in 3.5 inches and ending down here where this other cabinet will come out. And you'll notice my plywood's a little messy. I used this piece of plywood when I was doing some finishing, and I didn't mean to stain it, but this is going to be hidden here. It won't be seen. This section here will be seen, and I think I can clean this up, and I don't want to waste this. It's a good piece of plywood other than that. So that's what I'm using for the base. So now it's time to start cutting the base frame pieces. All right, so I've mocked this up now with some clamps. I haven't glued anything together yet, but you can kind of see what's happening here. We've got our base. Of course, the plywood will be sitting on top of that. This overhang will form the toe kick. This is 3.5 inches. And then down here where this 12-inch wide cabinet is going to be, it's actually going to be 11¼ inches before the face frame, and then it'll be 12 inches after the face frame. So I'm making the base on that cabinet 8 inches front to back to give me a 3¼ inch toe kick on that side as well. So I've got a little 8-inch inset here. Again, the base comes out to cover it, but when we match that cabinet up to this end, it'll have a toe kick and it'll look like one continuous toe kick all the way around once the trim is put on. So I think I'm ready to glue this up. I've made some witness marks here where each of these pieces go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some glue and I'm going to use some 18 gauge brads to hold it together. And then after I get it assembled, I'm going to flip it over onto the base and I'm going to square it all up and clamp it. All right, I'm ready to start the assembly here. You'll notice that I did run upstairs and cut some pocket holes on the inside of the frame. So when the base is put up here on the top, I can glue it, but I can also run some pocket holes up there to attach it and make sure it's absolutely firmly attached. So I'm just going to start by putting a little glue here on this end piece. And there's going to be so many pieces connected to this base that there's little likelihood that it'll come flying apart. So you don't have to go crazy with the glue. And get these pieces squared up as much as possible. So now, all I got to do is drive some pocket holes screws in through here, and we are done with the base assembly. All right, now the most important thing with these pocket hole screws, because we're going into 3/4 inch plywood, which is not really 3/4 of an inch thick, is to make sure you don't overdrive them. So I like to set the clutch really light on my driver. And then if I need to, I can come back and tighten those up by hand. All right, we'll let that set up for a little bit, and we'll be ready for the next step. Well, I'm pretty happy right now because I did a basic sanding of this Vanity base, And all those stains on the plywood came right off. So it actually is looking pretty good. The other good news is that my demolition inside the bathroom is coming along pretty well. So I think I'm going to be able to get a final dimension so that I can build the base for this L part of the vanity, so both pieces of the project can kind of come along together. Now in the next video, we're going to start to build the two end pieces, and this end, which is going to be the most visible when you walk into the bathroom, is going to be out of solid wood. That's part of plussing up the basic kitchen cabinet design. So be sure and come back and see how we do that. As always, I really appreciate you watching this video.